Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Cancel culture is stifling the freedom of expression of academic scholars, politicians, and celebrities. And social media is accelerating the spread of cancel culture both online and offline. Several researchers have studied this phenomenon of cancel culture and its impact. So for example, 2020 research from a political scientist at Harvard named Pippa Norris shows that social media are thought to have amplified the reach and accelerated the pace of the cancel culture spreading on college campuses and beyond. Norris then specifically mentions Twitter outrage trending on Twitter's hashtag section as one source of proof or persuasive support for a pervasive cancel culture. When ThePrint contacted Twitter to ask whether the company sees itself as responsible for the rise of cancel culture online, Twitter said it will be declining to comment. Then there is other research specifically focusing on Twitter and the role it plays in cancel culture. April 2021 research says Twitter campaigns and Twitter cancel culture hashtags can call out racist or xenophobic statements. However, the actual issue or the crux of the problem the campaigners are trying to call out may get lost in translation. There is concern that social media, such as Twitter, tends to extremes, moral outrages, lack of nuance and incivility, which shape how the issues become represented, the paper says. Research published in 2016 says in South Africa, Twitter was central to youth participation at University of Cape Town to remove a statue of a British colonialist that activists felt promoted institutionalized racism. The research adds that the campaign run on Twitter set mainstream news agendas and shaped the public debate. So cancel culture, it's defined as the attempt to ostracize someone for violating social norms. Cancel culture is spread across several popular social media networks. Dictionary site Merriam-Webster gives one example for the meaning of cancel culture as this practice of cancelling or mass shaming often occurs on social media platforms such as Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Other platforms have been accused of cancelling or censoring voices as well. It's just that Twitter can be used by commoners to cancel or censor someone, whereas with Google and Facebook, the censoring doesn't happen because of user posts, but because of the platform's own internal actions. Media baron Rupert Murdoch has been quoted last November saying about Facebook and Google, "There is no doubt that Facebook employees try to silence conservative voices, and a quick Google News search on most contemporary topics often reveals a similar pattern of selectivity or, to be blunt, censorship." This March, Washington Post found out that Facebook did not allow an ad from a book publisher in America that publishes conservative titles or right-wing leaning books. Why? Because the ad had a quote from former US Vice President Mike Pence calling it the best book on President Lincoln I have ever read. The Washington Post says Facebook says it's not singling out conservatives, it's merely blocking any ads from the right and the left that could imperil our civil order. But cancelling someone actually has its roots on Twitter. The New York Times in 2018 pointed to how African American Twitter users, known as Black Twitter, started using the language of cancellation to dismiss someone, usually a celebrity, because Black Twitter users did not agree with their actions. As the chair of linguistics of African America at the University of California, Santa Barbara explained to the Vox, normal average people going online to cancel high-profile wealthy individuals, even businesses, was a way of saying, we elevated your social status, your economic prowess, and we are not going to pay attention to you in the way that we once did. I may not have power, but I have the power to ignore you. Now, Twitter users worldwide have used the platforms designed to cancel and boycott high-profile entities and to forcefully create a change they otherwise may not be able to bring about. Talking about Twitter's design, here's why it's great for targeting outrage at someone. Twitter, unlike Facebook or Instagram, can be used to respond to others rapidly. If you are tweeting outrage to cancel someone, that will appear on a lot of other Twitter users' home feeds even if they don't follow you, making sure your outrage is visible to lots of other users. It just needs a mutual connection to retweet or share it. On Twitter, you can also directly tag an account that does not follow you. So let's say you are outraged at the actions of a public figure. You can tag that high-profile person on Twitter and direct all your outrage against them in tweets directly tagging them. Twitter also makes it possible to organize conversations around a hashtag. So if you are trying to shame someone or call attention to something you want changed, all you have to do is create a hashtag, get a lot of other like-minded users to also use that hashtag in tweets, and try to boycott or cancel someone. Twitter also shows you what hashtags are trending and being used the most. Often Twitter users, which now includes the fourth estate of press and journalists, go to that trending hashtag section to see what is happening in the world, what issues are raging in society. Journalists often report on what hashtags are trending at the number 1 or number 2 spot, or if a hashtag has thousands of tweets attached to it, of course journalists will find it curious and will follow up by reporting on it. In this way, regular Twitter users with no special powers can organize themselves to cancel someone and get the traditional media to report on it and make sure the attempt to cancel someone is broadcast far and wide. In recent times, we have seen attempts to cancel and shame people and companies increasing in India as well. Last year, Bloomsbury India stopped itself from launching a book after backlash from Twitter users. This year, Fab India had to withdraw an ad after ire from a tweet from BJP leader Tejasvi Surya. Recently, Congress leader Shashi Tharoor also drew ire from all corners of Twitter for tweeting a picture of his female colleagues and saying, "Who says the Lok Sabha isn't an attractive place to work?" We have now reached a tipping point where people across the world are asking if cancel culture is getting out of hand. For The Print, this is Regina Midukulusu.